Welcome to Start That Business podcast, where I help Christian moms working a corporate job launch their first coaching or consulting business from scratch without quitting their jobs yet. If I just described you, you are in the right place. My name is Chichi Ukomadu. I am a Jesus follower, an entrepreneur for 13 years, a mom of 3, and a Christian business coach. Now, what if I told you that your current paycheck isn't just meant to pay bills, but you could use it as seed money for your future coaching business? Well, financial preparation is a crucial step that is needed to transition from your corporate job to a thriving business. That's why in today's episode, we're diving into how to save for your coaching business before you quit your job. Yes, I'm going to be sharing what I call the Joseph strategy. We're pulling it right from Genesis 41. It's a biblical approach to saving that will fund your transition from your corporate life to becoming an entrepreneur. You don't want to miss today's episode. So if you're excited like I am, tune out the traffic and the road noise and let's get started. I have a testimonial from one of my clients, Mrs. V. Mrs. V wrote, and I read, "Dear Chichi, thank you so much for the detailed deliverables and the incredible support you offered during the transition clarity call. Everything you shared has encouraged me and helped me think more about my journey. I appreciate the clarity, structure, and motivation. It truly made me feel seen and equipped to take bold steps forward." Thank you so much, Mrs. V. By the way, if you are unclear on what you need to do to go from a corporate job to a thriving business, I invite you to take the first step to get clarity just like Mrs. V did. Go to fromjobtobusiness.com and book your transition clarity call so you can get the same clarity Ms. V just spoke about and begin your journey from corporate job to thriving business. Your transition clarity call is customized to where you are on your journey. You will get a 60-minute coaching session. We will answer questions that help you get clear on where you are on your new business journey and what you need to do to go to a thriving business. You will get a custom transition clarity blueprint. You will get all the session notes and recordings with next action steps. You will also get 1 month of coach in your pocket access to ask me 5 business questions via text, audio, or video chat. So in just 60 minutes, like Mrs. V, you will leave with clarity, confidence, and concrete next steps, no matter where you are right now. So a couple of years ago, my family and I, we were transitioning from an apartment to a home. And a couple of months before the transition, the Holy Spirit started stirring my heart to start putting money away towards the home we were transitioning to. And at that time, it felt so far-fetched. Moving into a home felt so far-fetched because we hadn't even found a home. We didn't know what area. So everything was still hazy. It was just a dream my family and I had, but nothing was in place. But the Holy Spirit stirred my heart and said, start putting money away every month towards this transition. So I obeyed, and every month I'll put money away. You will not believe that when things started to move quickly regarding the home, it so happened that the money we needed to deposit to move into the home was the exact same amount I had saved up based on the instruction the Holy Spirit gave me a couple of months even before we knew where we were moving to. So why did I share that story? when you're transitioning from one point to the other, from one life phase to another life phase, you need to know what you're building, why you're building it, and how to begin to prepare for that journey. And that's what the Holy Spirit made me do. Even though I didn't know where we were going or what kind of house it was going to be, the Holy Spirit helped me to start preparing even before we moved out of the apartment. And that is the same thing that happens when you begin to save and put money away while you're still working your corporate job, even before you start the business. So this is one area where one needs to get clear. This is one major area of clarity. How will I fund the business that God is calling me to start? It starts by saving for it. So a lot of women I find stay stuck at this stage because they don't know how they're going to fund the business startup cost and everything that comes with it. So they're stuck. There's a lack of a plan. There's fear of lack. If I leave my job where I'm getting a steady paycheck, how am I going to sustain my family and the business? So they're waiting for this financial miracle to happen before they start the business. But guess what? Your paycheck is the financial miracle. God has provided a paycheck. All you need to do is to shift your mindset and see preparation as not a lack of faith, but obedience to start getting ready for where God is calling you to. So the Holy Spirit prompted me months in advance saying, start preparing for where I'm taking you and your family to. So I could have ignored his leading, ignored his instruction, and continue praying that God will bring this big money for us to move into a home. But no, my preparation was my obedience. My preparation was my way of telling God, I believe that one day you're going to transition my family into a home. So that leads me into what I call the Joseph strategy. Now, this strategy is taken directly from Genesis 41, from verse 33. I'm going to read it to you. It says, therefore, Pharaoh should find an intelligent and wise man and put him in charge of the entire land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh should appoint supervisors over the land and let them collect 1/5, which is 20%, of all the crops during the 7 good years. Have them gather all the food produced in the good years that are just ahead and bring it to Pharaoh's storehouses, store it away and guard it so that there will be food in the cities. That way, there will be enough to eat when the 7 years of famine come to the land of Egypt. Otherwise, this famine will destroy the land. So, if you're not familiar with this story, this was when Joseph was in Egypt and Pharaoh had had a dream. And in the dream, he was shown that there are 7 years of abundance coming and 7 years of famine that will follow it. So imagine that your 9-to-5 job right now is your 7 years of abundance. You have a steady paycheck. It comes in twice a month on the 1st and on the 15th. You can plan, you can do so many things because that income is predictable. But you, like Egypt, God was showing them famine is coming. So you're going to transition from 7 years of abundance into 7 years of famine. And what famine means is that resources will be restricted or reduced. It won't be flowing as much as it was flowing when the 7 years of abundance were there. So if we bring it back home, you are working a job, it's your season of abundance. When you start a business, the first couple of years, the income will not be flowing as much because you're trying to build the business. You're building your offer. You're learning how to sell. There's so many things you're trying to do. So it's a season that resembles famine because the resources will not be flowing as much. So what is the Joseph strategy? Joseph told Pharaoh, he said, in your season of plenty, start putting 20% of what you're making away so that when the season of famine comes, you have something to draw from. So the same strategy you can use for yourself. So as you're preparing to start your coaching business, to start your consulting business, you can start putting away 20% from your paycheck right now. Every month you put it away so that when you start a coaching business or your consulting business, you have something to draw from. You have something to pull out of. So like I said, your paycheck right now is your season of plenty. Don't consume everything. In 2 Corinthians, and I'm going to read it real quick, 2 Corinthians, it tells us that God gives us income or increase so that we can use it to eat and also to invest. So I'm going to read that real quick. That's 2 Corinthians 9:10. He says, "For God is the one who provides seed for the farmer and then bread to eat." So God provides two things: seed for the farmer and bread to eat. When you think about seed, seed is something you plant into the ground. So you plant it into the ground and it produces a harvest for you. So your paycheck is God giving you seed money and money to eat. So don't consume all your paycheck using it to pay bills. Remove a part of it to sow into the future coaching or consulting business God is calling you to start. So it means that with every paycheck you receive, there is provision and there's seed in that paycheck. Now, so don't wait until you quit your job to start funding your future. No. Remember the Joseph strategy. Joseph told Pharaoh, he said, start now in your season of plenty and start putting stuff away so that by the time you start the coaching business, you have a safety net that you can draw from, and it can also help your family. So the money is already in your hands. The financial miracle you're waiting for is already in your hand. It's called your paycheck. When you honor God with stewardship, He honors you with increase. So when you start putting stuff away, you will notice you might just get a bonus from work. You might just get random, unexpected money, which you can now put away for where you want to be. So the same way Joseph positioned Egypt to thrive during the period of famine is the same way you can position your household to thrive when you start your coaching business, simply by putting stuff away now. So your job is your preparation season. So now that you're working your 9 to 5, this is your preparation season. So what are 3 practical ways that you can start saving for your transition today? The first is create a savings account in a bank that is not easily accessible. You can do it online. I recommend an online bank called Marcus by Goldman Sachs. And I'm going to drop the link to that bank. It's a bank that I have used as my online savings for me and my family for a long time. I'm able to automate payments in there and I'm able to save. So create a savings account, one that you cannot touch, one that you don't have a card to. Then label it Business Transition Fund or whatever name you want to give it. Then automate a fixed percentage or an amount per paycheck that you put there every day. Now, I want you to, the Joseph strategy, the summary of the strategy is putting something away towards your future business. Now, you might not be able to do 20%. You can start with a small amount. You can say, okay, every paycheck, I will move $50 into my business transition fund. That is somewhere to start. I remember a coach I worked with a while ago. She said, Chichi, even if it's $1, move it in there. So that is the first step. Create a savings account today. Label it and start moving funds there, no matter how little. 20% was just the strategy Joseph gave Pharaoh. You can start with 1% and you can keep increasing it as more funds become available in your paycheck. Now, the second practical way you can start saving for your transition is to audit your current spending. So audit your current spending. So look at your expenses. Maybe right now you buy coffee every day as you go to work. You have your Starbucks treat that you give yourself. You can say, okay, I'm going to cut back on Starbucks. I'm going to buy coffee from the store and just make it from home and save that money that I spend in Starbucks and channel that money into my business transition fund. So there might be subscriptions, there might be purchases that you did that you don't need anymore. You can pause some subscriptions that are no longer needed and redirect that money into your business transition savings account. So that is another way you can audit your current spending, see where you can cut back, and use the money you save and transition it into your business transition savings. The third thing you can do is commit to a seed sowing habit. Joseph told Pharaoh, put away 20% of the crops that Egypt is making. You might not be able to start putting 20% right away. You can start with 1%. You can start with $50 per paycheck. You can start with $100 per paycheck. The whole goal here is to build the habit of putting something away every paycheck, no matter how little, so that you can build that habit. This is you sowing the seed into your future business. So cultivate that habit, the mindset of saving for your calling, because there's no other person that is worth investing into your calling than you. So before you bring investors in, before you bring family and friends in to help invest in your business, you become your first investor in your business by committing to forming this habit of putting something away every month. Once you do that, pray over every deposit. Say, Lord, I'm sowing this in faith into my coaching business that you've called me to do. And watch God open more doors. You might get an unexpected bonus from work. That is God honoring your decision to sow into the calling that He has for you. As you begin to do that, maybe you might have some obstacles that might come up. You might say, oh, but my family is already stretched thin financially. Again, the whole idea is to start small. It can be as little as $1. As long as you can move something small to build that habit. You can also, like I said, look for places that you can cut back on, maybe reduce your eating out or cut out subscriptions you're not using. Take that step and trust God to multiply your faithfulness with the little. Then you might say to yourself, okay, what if the business fails? Why am I even saving for a business? What if the business fails? My answer to you is it's better to try with preparation, with a savings cushion, than to never try at all. So pretty much you putting money away is not going to be a waste. Even if you start the business and it doesn't succeed, at least you started it with money to be able to do what you needed to do. Trust me, it's more frustrating to start a business and not have a savings cushion and have to deal with all the financial pressure that comes from transitioning from a corporate job where you had a steady paycheck to a coaching business that you're still trying to build and get clients. So even if you think it's going to fail, guess what? Your preparation will not go to waste. That money can still be channeled into something else. You might also say, hey, maybe my husband isn't fully on board on this business idea thing. Well, be transparent with him. Don't hide anything from him. Say, honey, I believe God is leading me in this direction. Maybe you have a pocket money that you take from your paycheck every month. You say, okay, from my own pocket money, I'm going to be moving $1 or $2 or $50 into this savings account I'm opening. So keep everything transparent. Show your commitment to your family security first. Say, okay, honey, I'm saving this money away so that when my income is not available, when I transition to the coaching job, At least the family has something that they can draw from. Trust me, any husband will be willing to support that. So let your consistent savings demonstrate your seriousness to your husband that this is a business that I really want to go all in. So I hope this helps answer those obstacles that might come in the way of you saying, hey, I don't think this is necessary to do now. So here's what I want you to do based on what you have heard today. This is your homework. I want you today to open a separate business transition savings account. Decide the small amount that you're going to put in there and set up your first automatic transfer to that account. Pray over that seed money and ask God to multiply it, and watch and see how He would take that your single act of obedience and multiply it into a savings that is ready for you to use when you transition to your coaching business. I want you to remember this. Your current job isn't keeping you from your calling. It is the seed money and the capital and the funding for your calling. So use the Joseph strategy to turn your paycheck into your business launch pad. So as you go into your week or as you go into the weekend, I want you to reflect on this question. What would it look like for you if you set up this business transition savings account this week, and from your next paycheck, you start putting money into it? Thank you for listening to today's episode. I pray it made you feel seen, taught you something new, and encouraged you to take action. If so, would you please share this episode with someone in your world who needs help to transition from a corporate job to a thriving business? If today's episode resonated with you and you're ready to move from wondering to doing, I invite you to go to fromjobtobusiness.com to book your transition clarity call today. In just 60 minutes, you will get clarity from where you are now to where God is calling you to be in your business. You will leave with confidence and concrete next steps. Lastly, it will be a huge blessing to me if you could leave a review for this podcast on Apple Podcasts or the podcast app you are using to listen. This is the number one way I know you are getting value from the podcast. Until next time, always remember, your expertise is needed, your calling is real, and I'm here to help you make it happen. So keep listening for more episodes. I'll meet you here next week.